Afternoon, Stampin' Divas. This is just a quick tutorial to show you how we made the little bag, shopping bag type style bag for our set of cards to give as gifts. And I'm not going to show you how to do the butterfly because that's just basic stamping with tricolor sponges and another stamp underneath, and I'm just glued together with some dimensionals and placed on the front of the bag. What I want to show you how we did today is how we did the bag. So I'll set that over here out of the way. You're going to start with a piece of designer paper cut in half, so it's 6 inches by 12, and you're going to score it at 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 8 inches, and 9 inches. Turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, either way, and at the 90-degree angle, and you're going to score it at 5 or score it at 1, whichever end is more comfortable for you. It's more comfortable for me to score this way. If I were left-handed, I would do it that way. But you need a 1-inch score at the bottom. Put that aside. Take your bone folder, if you have it handy. Go ahead and reinforce these folds. Like that. And like this. And then you're going to take your paper snips, and I don't know any other way to describe this, but the big flaps, not these little square flaps right here, are what I want to call my right angles, or my true edge. So when I cut up to this 1-inch fold line, I want to cut to the side that I want to look the neatest, which is the big part here, not this little flap. So I'm going to cut just at the outside of the score line so that it makes no dents. You don't see where the paper was scored. This is a nice flat edge. And then I'm going to cut a little bit of a wedge out of that flap so that I have that. Instead of it just being a slit, I want to cut out a little wedge. Once again, I'm going to cut to the left of my fold line because I want this to be my nice smooth edge, and cut out a little wedge. You're going to do that on the other flap. There's some tutorial out there that someone from Stampin' Up! Has done, and they had a terminology for what you call that edge over here, but I just call it my straight edge, the edge I want to be the neatest and straightest. Okay, so there's our bag folded. Now what you want to do is you want to fold in one side that has the little 1-inch piece and a flap, and then on this side you're going to fold in just a flap so that you have a nice flat surface to work on to do your gluing. And this is your overlap, which is about 1 inch. You could trim your paper if you don't want that much overlap. Just trim your paper ahead of time down to, say, 11. So I'm going to put some adhesive on this edge. This is the new Fast Fuse adhesive, and let me tell you, when it fuses, it's fused. Okay, and you have to do like that at the end, like a check mark, or it just comes right back up onto the spool. Okay, so you got glue on this edge, glue on this edge. We're just going to hold it down nice and neat. Make sure our top is smooth. Overlap them and press that down. Okay, so there's our preliminary bag right there. I'm going to fold this flap away, this flap away, and these two little flaps away like this, out of my way. I'm going to stand it up, and then I'm going to take some glue dots. I'm just going to use the regular mini glue dots. If I had my little pack of the bigger glue dots, I'd use those from the Paper Pumpkin boxes. I'm just going to put 2 minis on each one of these flaps, and I'm putting it on the outside. 2 on this side. 1 would probably do it, but I don't know what kind of cards I'm going to put in here and how heavy they may be. Okay, so now I've got glue dots on the outside. I'm just going to fold that in out of the way inside my bag. And then on this piece, See, I've got them up inside out of the way so they're not sticking anything. I'm going to put a little fast fuse right here on this edge. It doesn't have to have much. Okay. And then I'm going to fold this in gently, trying to make sure that my edge is squared up. Like that. Squared up with the edge. I'm going to stick my hand up inside, and where that matches this edge nice and square right there, I'm going to press my little glue dots that are inside up against that. Those little flaps with the glue dots on them. But I want to make sure that's really as square as that can be with the edge. And it just needs enough of the glue dot to hold it in place till you can get the other part done. Okay, on this side, I'm going to put, this is the inside part of the bag, I'm going to put tape edge to edge on that so that it'll stay down and stay nice and square. And then all I've got to do is fold this over, making sure my edges are even right here. Nice right angles. Press that down, and you can put your hand inside and kind of gently press that into place. So there's the bag, basically done up as a little bag. Now I want to do my handles. And what I've done is a contrasting piece of designer paper, and I have my dies, and these are the same as the Stampin' Up! Circle dies. These are just the nestabilities, but you're going to take one at the inner circle, which is 2.5 inches, and the outer circle, which is 4 inches, and you're just going to nest them into each other like this, centering it on your magnetic platform. Make sure your plate that you're using on your platform is nice and flat, or your magnet doesn't work well. I always save one just for doing this so that it's the magnet will hold it down tightly. You're going to run those through, and you're going to end up with 2 circles. You can save this little bit for another little project that you might use a circle, or if you need a frame for anything. Otherwise, that gets tossed. Now, we're going to take these 2 circles, and we're just going to, I want it kind of to be on this diagonal, so I'm going to fold them in half. Like that. Fold this one in half. And I'll try to get that on the diagonal also. You see, I didn't quite have my circles lined up because one side's a little fatter, but nobody will ever notice that. Okay, now I'm going to open them back up just a little bit, and I'm going to use my 2A glue pen and get the top of it off here. And I'm just going to put a little glue right here on the top. Don't go all the way down to where your fold is, just on the top part right there. Okay, then take your scissors and cut the fold. You can actually cut these separate if you don't want to waste a whole 4.5 inch square of designer paper. It only really takes a lot less paper than that to do this. You wouldn't be wasting that center section. But this was the easiest thing for class to make sure we got it all lined up correctly. Now I'm doing something I said today sounded very risque, but I'm spreading its little legs like that. And I'm going to take my glue dots once again. And I'm going to put a glue dot on each side of this little split. It's not like you're going to be carrying this bag by the little handle, so a glue dot should be sufficient for holding it on there. Oh, I got a runaway glue dot stuck on my fingernail. How about that? They do get out of hand if you're not careful. Okay, and I'm going to put one on each side of this piece. Okay, so now my glue dots are on. I'm going to take my bag, and I'm going to move you out of the way, and I'm going to just put it about where this edge is about 1/2 inch down from this cut edge. And just kind of center it on your bag right there, and line it up what you think looks about right. Like that looks good to me. And then I'm just going to press it together and press it together. Ta-da! It's glued inside and out. Now, all I've got to do is try to kind of line this up with the one I've already done so they kind of halfway match. If you're a perfectionist, you could measure it or put them together, I guess, and then glue them that way. Okay, so there's our little handles. There's our little bag. All you need is the front embellished. We use the swallowtail stamp done with the rainbow dauber sponge method with another piece underneath cut with a small margin so that it sticks out from the other butterfly. They're glued together in the body and then have dimensionals. Oops, and there's my cards that we're going to give away. Has dimensionals up in here to kind of keep the wings from being too floppy. Curled them up a little bit. Used the Hello You stamp from the, I believe that's from the Dahlia set. And it's just on a piece of Coastal Cabana twine with a little bit of Coastal Cabana hanging behind it. And that's just simple as it can be. It'll hold 4 or 5 regular size cards with envelopes. So, easy as pie to make and much easier than making a whole box and all of that. So, happy stamping!